House, District 10, Madison County.
Donna Evans, Alabama House, District 64, Baldwin County.
Our clerk, Mary Ruth. I'm Margie Wilcox. I represent District 104, that's Mobile County, but Theodore, Tillman's Corner, and Cottage Hill area of Mobile in particular. But I do represent all of Alabamians like we all do.
Matt Butler, Etowah County, House District 28, Gadsden, Rainbow City, County.
Parker Moore, House District 4, Morgan, Limestone, Madison counties.
Bill Lamb, House District 62, Tuscaloosa County.
Carrie Underwood, District 3, that's the northwest corner of the Shoals area.
Dixie Thomas, under the Examiners of Public Accounts.
Introduce yourself, Representative Lawrence.
Representative Joe Lawrence, House District 69.
Thank you. And then Representative Parker Moore, do you have some pages that you would like to have them introduce themselves? Are these your pages?
Yes, they are. You want to introduce yourselves?
Betty McNair, I go to Journey Middle School. Casey McNair, Madison Elementary.
Welcome.
All right, thank y'all for coming. We're glad to have y'all. Okay, at this time, I'd please ask you to turn your cell phones off. I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'm asking Representative Bill Land to offer our prayer today.
Let us pray. Father God, it's with grateful hearts that we come before you this morning, the day that you've given us. We praise you and we thank you for this opportunity to gather together and conduct the state's business. As always, we ask that you give us wisdom, not only wisdom, but understanding, and with that understanding, discernment, Lord. And we'll praise you for it all in the strong name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Representative Wilcox.
Here.
Representative Robbins. Representative Bracy. Representative Hurst. Representative Butler. Representative Lawrence. Representative Moore.
Here.
Representative Givens.
Here.
Representative Lamb.
Here.
Representative Underwood.
I'm here.
Representative Lands.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call the first bill, HB 159, Chairman Lovern. It has an amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. First of all, I'm just inspired if all these people are here to hear about the preservation of space artifacts.
Yes.
Really
Packed
inspired.
house, packed house.
Really inspired to have them here. So we have at the Space and Rocket Center a great multitude of artifacts that we preserve, display, and educate people around the world literally about. But our basic legislation that established the center was written in 1965, back when we were on the journey to try to go to the moon. So there has been some updates in the way we have life and the way we conduct business since then. And one is to actually rename the name of the commission, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center Commission. And I've sent out some information, especially to the local delegation, that pertains to any changes that we have in it. It's very important to allow my colleagues that we would introduce the diversity language that's in our modern legislation as well. There's some things dealing with proximity. We have artifacts all over the place, but in our original legislation, we can only govern over artifacts within a mile of the center. This allows for artifacts that are in different places for us to also preserve and protect, and to help us conduct the basic business that's needs from the people that work at the Space and Rocket Center. And we do have one amendment, Madam Chair, this from Finance, which will just basically replace one line to commission is not within the state treasury, and then replace line 376 with line 14, where it states the words, procure supplies and services in the same manner as educational or institution governed by a board of trustees or other similar governing body pursuant to section 41-4-124. That was a recommendation from Finance, and certainly would be a friendly amendment that I'd like for y'all to see.
All right, do we have somebody offering that amendment? Okay, so we have the amendment offered.
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Do we have any discussion, any questions you'd like to ask of the sponsor? All right.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the Alimo Seminary or whatever that is? What is that?
Well, I would not say it fell into either degree I have from college that I ever used that word. But I'm open to anyone in the audience of our space.
charity, Joe.
Means charity. from what I've been told. Means charity. But, you know, attorneys need to use big words to get their point across, and that's certainly
Yeah, I
a
want you
very
to
fine
pronounce it
word.
for me one more time so I can learn how to say it.
Well, it's according to a different culture pronounced.
I'll put.
You're out of order. We're not gonna do that. All right, so we have, did I hear you, Representative Givens, you're gonna make the motion to accept it as amended?
Yes, I think.
Oh, do you have another question? I'm sorry.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and second that then, but I just wanna say that I think, looking at this, you said the last time it was done was in '65. And so it was Warner Von Braun that did this, and so I think you're a distinguished company there. You and Von Braun are on the same wavelength there.
Oh, I would not dare to step into that circle, but it is amazing, just being a part of that board, as I serve on that board now, and just to see that where we have been in Alabama and where we're going, everything in our future, travel, anything in space, it really begins right here in Alabama. And for us to be able to preserve that and open the eyes to people from all over the world, I think it helps everyone's district, it helps our state, and we certainly are leading the way that we were in the '60s and we are today. So we're excited this legislation will help us from the Space and Rocket Center Commission to help continue to preserve that and make sure that we're shining on Alabama's light no matter which planet we want to launch to. So thank you for your comments.
I appreciate your work and your service on this board, and Madam Chair, thank you. So.
Okay, we're through filibustering the bill. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. You get a favorable report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
HB 110, Pro Tem Pringle. Full of jokesters today.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, HB 110, come out of Sunset Committee, reduce the Board of Medical Examiners. For 2 years, we displaced the members of the board and their employees under the ethics law. And we passed the 2010 ethics law, somehow they weren't put under this kind of work. This is brings them in compliance with all the other employees.
Well, thank you for all your hard work on this bill. I appreciate it as a Sunset Chair and you as a valued member.
Second.
We have a motion by Hurst. A second over here is getting loud and proud. Representative Givens, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Thank y'all.
thank you. The next bill is HB 114. Chairman Shedd, you're recognized to present your bill on Board of Dental Examiners.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Come to you today with HB 114, and the examiners of public accounts did a tremendous job of examination, as they always do, and the Sunset Committee did a very thorough work on in our committee on this bill, and recommend that we extend the board to October 1 of 2027.
Thank you, and I think I'd just like to make some comments that we've had a bunch of members that have assisted and have met with. I'd like to specifically call out Representative Treadaway, who's had his constituents come in and talk. This board had some issues on their audit, but we think they're making a sincere effort at those improvements. That's the reason why we went with the 2027. And in order to get them to go in and enact their improvements, they've got to hire a new director. And so we felt like auditing them in 3 months, there would be nothing to audit that would be other than an exercise in futility. So I just wanted to give an explanation to this board. Y'all know that some of these boards, I wanted y'all to have more time, and some of the bills needed to be fleshed out. So that's just some probably extra commentary that y'all may or may not want to, but I want to keep this board or this particular committee fully informed on what we're doing on Sunset, so we appreciate your backup and support. Does anybody have any questions for Chairman Shedd? You recognize Parker Moore.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to make a motion for a favorable report.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Representative Lands has seconded. Again, no questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, your bill is given a favorable report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. HB 115, Representative Simpson on the Alabama Board of Electrical Contractors.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. There was some significant issues that we found through this process in the Sunset Committee on the evaluation that the auditors found. Based on that, we brought this to the attention of the Electrical Contractors Board. They now have a new executive director. I don't know if she's here. I thought she was here. Tiffany Lovelace has been amazing to work with. She understands that there's a heavy load that she has to get behind. I was told this morning, I think they've elected an entire new board as of today. So they understand the issues that we found and the significance of what we're looking at. With that, we have recommended a 1-year continuance of the board to understand just the significance of the issues we found.
Thank you, that was a very thorough explanation. You recognize?
Just making a motion to approve.
Second.
Motioned by Givens, seconded by Parker Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, your bill's been given a favorable report.
Thank you.
HB 116, again, Representative Simpson, Alabama Professional Bail Bonding Board.
This was a board that was reset for 1 year last time. There was a number of significant issues that we found with them last year, and they went above and beyond and corrected, I think, every one of those issues. They had a board that really dove in. You guys, if you don't know from our area, Judge Spiro Cherigatis was on this board. We had some other people from, I know the clerk of court from, was there, so I can't think of her name right off. That's it. Yep. They went above and beyond to try to fix these problems. They took it intentionally and they were deliberate with their methods. And as such, we moved for a 2-year extension, which puts them back on the rotation that they should be.
Thank you for your explanation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Parker Moore. Do I have a second? First is a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Your bill has a favorable report.
Thank you, members of the committee.
HB 123, Representative Underwood, the Pharmacy Board. We are going to have a public hearing, but we're going to have Representative Underwood present the bill first. You recognize Representative Underwood.
Thank you, Madam, for the recognition. This is 32 pages, and I would like to hit some of the highlights if that's okay with you on our time constraints. Just a general introduction. What we're working with here is some existing language with regard to disciplinary and enforcement measures. It's confusing. This bill is almost like it's pieced together over time. It's confusing, redundant, it's unclear, and there is absolutely inconsistent usage of fines, fees, and penalties. So this bill provides consistent usage of those terms to try to clear things up for everyone involved. It does the same with the terms fee and civil penalty, and it eliminates fines from the chapter to provide clear guidance to the pharmacy board going forward. Most of these revisions relate to the following issues that were raised in the audit report. Number 2 was deferral agreements. This bill eliminates the ability to enter into those. It's also addressed by some general cleanup in language. Issue number 3 was fines in excess of statutory authority, and that is addressed by the general cleanup of penalty language. Issue 4 was board charging penalties against non-licensed persons and entities. That is addressed by specifying that it is prohibited. And issue number 8, charging fees not authorized by law. This is addressed by providing clarity to the renewal fees, the late fees, and the delinquent fees. If I can just hit a couple of these as we go through, and I'll give you the page numbers so you can kind of see exactly where we're at with these. Page number 5, there's vague language. It's starting on line 117. Vague language that authorize citations for violations. So we scratched that, and the purpose of of that was for clarity. On page 8, line 198, this relates back to issue number 3. It updates and clarifies the civil language penalty. And then beneath that, it cleans up and clarifies the board's authority to bring an injunction. So that's the new language in there as well. And at the bottom on line 221 on the same page, that's clarifying when a violation is a crime. Page 9, in the middle there, starting around 232, this is issue number 3. This section relates to criminal penalties, removes reference to a $1,000 fine and clarifies the penalty language. And it also cleans up penalties and process for late license renewals, which you'll hear that said several times because it's the redundancies in this bill are glaring. On page 10, there's a lot of strike-throughs at the bottom. We're cleaning up penalties and fee structures there. That goes all the way over to line 295 on page 11. On page 12, we're dealing with issues number 2, 3, and 8, clarifying when the board may impose fees for late renewals. Also cleans up the fee structure. On page 14, I'm moving on. I'm not going to put this. It's not going to take much longer. Middle of the page, around 373 and 4, beginning issues 2, 3, and 8 clarifies when the board may impose a fee for late renewals, and then beneath that on line 384, that's issues 2, 3, and 8, still cleaning up civil penalty language. It sounds redundant, but it's because it's in the bill redundant. On page 17, 449 is the line number. That's issue number 4, prohibits the board from penalizing an applicant that is not yet licensed. And on 463, line number, same page 17, eliminates the ability to impose non-disciplinary administrative fees. That was issue number 2 on our sunset. On page 19, we're diversifying the board membership, and we're changing the appointments to the governor on page 19. That begins with line 518, and it goes on after that for several pages.
I'm gonna read this right several years.
523, 524.
Okay.
Yeah, that's experience. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't really clear.
Yes, sir. That's okay. I may be moving too fast on this, Representative.
And just to clarify, we will not be voting on this bill, and I want y'all to know that this audit is available online on our website. It's listed under the Office of Public Accounts, but Mary Ruth can give you a copy of it. We can send it to you electronically or get you a hard copy of it. So you won't vote on this today because we feel like there's some more changes that might be happening. But didn't mean to interrupt you, just want to make sure everybody doesn't feel it.
Yes, ma'am. Bottom of page 23, beginning with line 639, is dealing with the hiring of or the appointment of an executive secretary and how that process happens and changes based on their prior experience with the board. On page 25, middle of the page, line 688, that's issue number 5, clarifies the per diem must be for official business only. And bottom of that page, beginning with line 697, continuing education that's part of their normal practice as a pharmacy is not considered official business. On line 726, I'm on page 26, this deals with issues number 3 and 5, clarifies that late fees, etc., must be uniformly applied to everybody in the same class. That goes on over to the next page on 731. That's what I want to point out. There's still several cleaned up issues in there that you'll see, changes where we're just cleaning up wording and being more consistent with it. On page 31, at the top of the page, the last major piece that we've done to the bill is we're separating the function of general counsel in 2 different departments. And you can see there's a division responsible for disciplinary functions, and another division that's responsible for administrative, non-disciplinary functions, which will include providing advice to and answering questions from the license holders. The function of what we're trying to accomplish there is if someone calls and says, I have a question about, is this legal or is this possible, can we do this? So that they can know that they're asking for advice and won't necessarily get a call the next day coming to be reviewed and audited for everything they call about. So we're trying to separate those two functions, and they are to stay separate unless the administrative side is hearing something they think is criminal. And then they, of course, are allowed to have the conversations they need to have. And then that's really it. We still have some cleanup on renewals on page 32, but that's the major highlights of what this bill has introduced and does for us and does for the pharmacy board. And you know, things have been run this way for a long time. By that I mean the law has been written this way for a long time, and they've been through multiple audits and reviews by the Sunset Committee, and it's just time to change the way things are operated based on what we give them as laws for them to follow, and that's what I think this bill does. It could be conceived as being somewhat aggressive and punitive, but we're just changing the law so where they know what they're following and clear up the language for them. And that's why it's 32 pages. But I'm happy to have any conversation with you now or later if you want to ask questions about what we're doing here.
Representative Underwood has worked on this for at least 6 to 8 months that I can, yeah. And the work is still ongoing. So this is an important board to our state. They bring in the life-saving drugs. They regulate those drugs. They punish those bad actors in our state that give their profession a bad name. But we do have to revise this law so that we get everybody on the same page. Their audit was not where we wanted them to be, and so the Sunset has taken a position where we really are not just renewing, we're going in and we are fixing, because just to ding them wasn't effective. So this Sunset is a very active Sunset. So open it up to questions to any of the members of Representative Underwood.
Think about it. A lot of the reasons, like if you look at that Sunset bill, I mean the audit report, you'll understand a lot of what's going on here.
And if you just have general questions, that's one of the reasons why we have Ms. Thomas here with the public accounts. So if you wanted to talk with her about the specifics of the audit, we make her available at this meeting, and she'll be on the floor if you have anything that comes up. But anybody on the Sunset Committee or Representative Underwood or myself will be glad to meet with you if you have any questions, because I know we all deal with our independent pharmacists. I have an independent pharmacist. I talked to him, so it wouldn't strike me as odd if any of y'all were approached and you had questions that come up before they come for a vote. So we want to give you all the information to make an informed decision.
We appreciate the profession and the industry and what they provide to our communities, to our families, and we will have to expedite, because we are on a timeline. So I am expediting, Madam Chair, to get us something to vote on.
Right. So the good thing about starting so early on these, we have time to make it right. Yeah. So our deadline is one of the last weeks in February. So even though we were aggressive in getting the other boards out, we have time on these, and that's by design, to let the ones that we didn't have a problem with go through. Those boards need to know their continuity, but these boards know it was going to take longer. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You have a question?
I guess we won't take the amendment up today.
Right. We're gonna do all that housekeeping in one meeting. We're not gonna take. Now you can discuss it if you'd like.
Well, I don't have anything to discuss about it. I just didn't know if we needed to pass it, so we would have.
We have found that sometimes messes things up in the back office paperwork, where if you do something on a bill one week, it sometimes doesn't get notated. So we're, as a favor to our clerk, we're not doing that. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. Okay, now we're gonna have a public hearing. It's 10:52. We have got a 11:30 meeting. I'm gonna have to limit the speakers to, and we have 4 speakers, thank you, 2.5 minutes each. That'll keep this discussion at 10 minutes. Mr. Krebs, you're up first. And everybody knows we don't make things personal. If the person before you said everything that you wanted to say, there is no shame in standing up and saying ditto and not putting us through the same thing again. So keep that in mind. Your time is starting now, Mr. Krebs.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Joseph Krebs. I'm an attorney. I've been handling board cases probably 22 years. I emailed every one of y'all what I call the Krebs amendments, not because I'm trying to get credit for these amendments, but because I think that they're important. I've got copies of these for everyone if the chair would allow us to distribute those. On January, I want to back up. I want to thank everyone who's worked tirelessly on HB 123. It's really been, I know spent a lot of time on it, and so first I want to thank everyone for doing that. On January 22nd, 2025, this incompetent board mishandled its separation from former Executive Secretary Donnie Yaten. The corrupt board violated the Open Meetings Act and then misled pharmacists in the public.
If you keep that up, if you think somebody's corrupt, you need to call the Attorney General's office. So we're gonna tone that down.
Okay. The board also continues to have an attorney on a $550,000 contract with this board who I think has proven time and time again that there are issues as to her competency. I urge one of you to move for adoption of the Krebs amendments. While HB 123 is progress, reinstating, and I'm talking about the amendment here, reinstating association control over board seats is a major setback. The culture of problems runs too deep and must end. Problems in our government should never be tolerated in Alabama. I've seen firsthand how boards controlled by association insiders serve their own interests. It's about money and power and not public service. Board members and executives are groomed within these associations, creating a system that protects itself at the expense of licensees and the public. And I'm talking about the amendments here, the recent amendment, and so I just want to make sure that we're talking about that. Given these associations a majority on the new 9-member board, it's just the same old recipe for problems, because that's the problem and that's how we got to where we are today. And if you go back and read the Sunset Report, you read the news articles that I sent all of you, and I'll be glad to meet with any of you as well or answer any questions about these amendments. It's wrong. It's unacceptable. You know, it's time to finish this job and to rewrite more of the law to lock this board down. Alabama voters overwhelmingly support President Trump and his agenda. Trump cleans house, and Alabamians expect this legislature to do the same. Ending problems isn't partisan. It's always the right thing to do.
Time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deidre Atkinson. Ms. Atkinson, I'd ask you to speak to the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Deidre Atkinson, and I worked with previous counsel to the Board of Pharmacy for 17 years. I resigned my position in October of 2022 based on some of these very same issues that were found in the Sunset Committee's audit. There were 14 issues that they found, and the board's initial response was very disingenuous, actually blaming the AG's office, because saying the AG oversaw everything that went out of their office, but they neglected to tell the Sunset Committee why the AG was overseeing everything that went out of their office. They had been under investigation by the AG's office since September of 2022. That ended up with the council having his DAG letter revoked. So rather than tell you that they had already been put on notice by the AG's office, we'd already been to the AG's office. They just blamed it on the AG's office. After those 14 issues were discovered, they had an opportunity to act in good faith. They did not act in good faith. The illegal collection of fines, which is addressed on page 17, line 463, rather than stopping that activity, they tried to introduce a rule change that made it legal. So rather than saying, oh, hey, Sunset Committee says this is illegal, we shouldn't do this anymore, to make it right for them, they tried to introduce a rule change that made it legal. And then finally, one more time, they were given the opportunity to act in good faith. They violated the Open Meetings Act. I watched the live stream while I got the email that said it was canceled. I was on the live stream watching. So time and time again, this board has shown that it cannot function independently. It has made a mockery of the Sunset Committee and all of their hard work. It has made a mockery of the legislative process in our state. And finally, it has made a mockery of the citizens of the state of Alabama. This is disgraceful. This bill is a roadmap to redemption for the Board of Pharmacy. And that is why we need this bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Susan Alverson, you're recognized.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the interim executive secretary. I was appointed a few weeks ago, and I want to thank you for listening to us today. I want to thank you for keeping an open mind as you hear about this board going forward. I don't know if you realize we license every manufacturer, wholesaler, distributor, repackager in the United States that ships drugs into Alabama. I first came to the board because there had been 9 deaths in Alabama due to a pharmacy mistake. And I spent 5 years previously redoing all of the way we do investigations, putting in place systems to make sure we didn't have anything like that again. We were actually contacted by the Food and Drug Administration a few years ago to say, you notice the Food and Drug Administration doesn't get into Alabama very much. And that's because Alabama is the best state in the United States in terms of monitoring compounding and working toward patient safety. So I am in no way here today to say to you that the board and the office haven't made mistakes. I am in no way trying to say we're resistant, that we don't want to change, that we don't want to come into compliance, because that's absolutely what we want. And we so appreciate Representative Underwood for helping us, and also Chair Wilcox for helping us to create the right legislation, to do the right thing, and to be sure we're never standing here at this podium again, ever, trying to apologize for anything that's come out of our office. Our number one concern in our office is patients. I can't begin to tell you the level of fraud that exists in pharmacy in the United States. The number one source of fraud in the U.S. is healthcare. The number one source of fraud is pharmacy.
Your time is up, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Stacy Giles, you're recognized.
Hello, I'm Stacy Giles. I'm a 3rd-year board member, and I'm just getting the hang of it. We have a 5-year term, and it's a difficult position. There's so many laws, as y'all see, complex, convoluted, and so I think we've been trying our best to uphold the law to our ability. A lot of it comes down to interpretation, and we found that with the examiner's office, their interpretation was different than ours, and so we're happy that we're in this meeting and we're addressing those issues. You know, some tightened up language is definitely beneficial, and we appreciate y'all for working with us on that. I've been serving patients in Alabama for 33 years as a pharmacist, even though I'm 29. But I've been doing it a while, and patient safety comes first at the board. We definitely want to assist providers in doing their job, making access to care one of the most important things that we address. But patient safety comes first with us. That's what we are led to do. But I do appreciate it. And regarding the meeting that we supposedly held illegally, we didn't cancel the meeting. I bet a friend of mine from Medicaid would say that they canceled a meeting, but they accidentally canceled our meeting. So we didn't, but nobody really wants to hear that truth. So, there's a lot of things said, but I think we're all doing it with a good heart. I came into this with I had no idea that we even got any pay. I thought we was doing this for free. And now I need more pay. That's what I'm thinking. But
not the day for that one.
Not the day. But so every one of us that came onto this board had no idea we were even reimbursed anything, maybe travel. So it's not like we took this job for the money. We definitely didn't. Pharmacists can make more money working than on this board. We're here to help patients, and we're here to do the right thing for the right reasons. So we appreciate your time, and thank y'all.
All right, thank you. Okay, do y'all have any, Mr. Sponsor, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, ma'am, I have no more to add.
Does any members have a question of Representative Underwood at this point? Okay, as I've said, we're not going to be voting on that. I'll give y'all time to do a little homework, and we'll probably vote on that next week's agenda. And now I'm going to turn the meeting over to my vice chair. I'm going to pull my copy. Sure wish I could do it from this seat with my ankle. Y'all can watch me limp up there.
As the chair, as the acting chair, I will let you do it from your seat.
Thank you. I appreciate that accommodation. It is my pleasure and my honor to present HB 125 as the sunset law on the Alabama State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners. They will be continued without modification until 2027.
Are there any questions?
Just one question. Is that to get them back on a regular cycle?
No, they had some things that they were going to be, that they had said that they were going to do in their rulemaking. And so that just gives us an opportunity for them to do that rulemaking, and we bring them back to see how that all works out.
So, I was going to say, if there is no further questions, I'll make a motion. You got a motion from Representative Moore. Do we have a second? Second from Representative Gibbons. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Your bill gets favorable report.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the committee. All right. Do we have any other business that needs to be brought before this committee? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.